Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen, and you can call me whatever you want if my surname is tricky to pronounce. Some of these people have called me all sorts of things. That's because today is Bring On The Hate. Yes, today is part 3 of Bring On The Hate. Yeah, so I'm going to be answering some comments that have been less than friendly and not very constructive. So if you're offended by bad language, whatever that is, I suggest you leave. Also, if you're offended on behalf of someone else, please don't. That's not a very sensible use of your time. If you are one of the people being offended, well, why'd you write what you wrote? So, today I am being me, Elmo, and I'm answering a bunch of people who hide behind their YouTube usernames and write shitty stuff on my wall. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be swearing as well. Wall. Comments. Facebook has a wall. Had a wall. I don't know what I'm talking about. Before I get going, why am I doing this? Partly to entertain you and me, partly also to show people that, hey, you can stand up against people like this, but also to say that I don't think you should go gang up on any of these people. I don't want you to do that. I will deal with this if I choose. And I'll be doing these videos for as long as I find them amusing and you find them amusing. That's basically the bottom line. So, let's get going with Tony963. Why such a sarcastic review? And I respond, I don't remember it being sarcastic. And he responds, it's better for us that you review only guitars over $2,000. Yes, it is better that I only review guitars that are over $2,000. And that's also very practical, what with this YouTube channel bringing in so much money! I can't review guitars like that because this guitar channel doesn't make that kind of money. Besides, I'll review whatever fuck I want. So piss off. Then we have Ulysses Nidran, who's been part of a previous Bring On The Hate video. I've never heard Marshall so bad. I think you're a really bad guitarist. And then we have Vintage Stone, who says, Malmsteen, Vintage Stone has also been a part of a previous episode of Bring On The Hate. And what can I say? I mean, would I rather have these people approve Ulysses and Vintage Tone, or would I rather take praise from who should I say, Yngwie Malmsteen, who praised me and said you're very, very good. Now the differences between Ulysses, Vintage Tone and Yngwie are probably quite a few. But let's just focus in on one tiny little bit. Just one tiny little bit. And that's the fact that Yngwie actually listened to my music and didn't judge me as a guitarist based on a fucking gear review. He listened to the music. Yeah. Okay, and we have more by Mr. Vintage Tone. Okay, Malmsteen, malfunctioned copycat. Can you stop putting ugly faces and stop putting down Marshall amps? Okay, you can carry a guitar and you have some cash to make videos and buy stuff, but you are just a copycat. Please stop. You give me diarrhea. I didn't know my channel had that power. I'm a bloody magician. My videos spread diarrhea. I'm glad I gave you diarrhea, Vintage Throne. I hope you and the diarrhea have a happy life together. I'm guessing your diarrhea sounds better than your guitar playing. Then we have Wedding with the White Doves. I don't remember which video this was in reference to. I love this amp. I think you must have ear problems from club days. Now, what can I say? How unfortunate for your sensitive taste that you love that amp. I don't remember which amp it was. You love that amp. I don't love that amp. I said so in a video. Again, I don't remember which amp it is, but still. I said something about an amp that Wedding with the White Doves doesn't like, and he feels that he has to put me down. That's probably the only way he can justify the purchase of that crappy amp to himself and sleep well at night. I say himself, it could be a herself. Then we have Zambot 3.
Here is the crunch. Plays lead.
That was on the Yamaha THR5 video. You do realize that you don't play crunch, you play rhythm. I'm assuming that's what you're after here. You play lead. Lead is also used as kind of term for a sound. You can also have a rhythm sound, but at least from this might be just me not being a native speaker, but what I've understood is crunch is a sound, but it's not what you actually play. What do you do in this band? I play drums. What do you do? I play bass. What do you do? I play crunch. Captain Crunch. Captain Crunchy, something. I don't know. Then we have Eric Morrison, who I'll guess is from Italy. You make your demo on one sound and there is so many tweakable, lol. You need to adjust the amp perfectly with the editor. But what the hell? Keep on practicing your boring style with your crappy Roland Micro Cube. Your so-called review is just useless as a fuck. Glad to see 20% of people do not have shit in their ears and dislike your so-called nerdy wannabe demo. And I responded, you seem to have some anger issues, so I don't like an amp you like. Big deal, get over it. You should ask yourself why you are one of the minority to not like it, and the answer is just so simple. You have shit in your ears to play your weak style. Ciao, nerdy. Everyone else likes this amp, yet you say 20% of people don't agree with you. And then suddenly you say, I'm in a minority. What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, study a bit of math. Secondly, get it into your head that as musicians, we're not supposed to be like the mass. We're supposed to be different individuals. It's like that Monty Python thing, Life of Brian, where Brian, everyone thinks he's the Messiah. They've gathered in front of his window, and he opens the window in the morning, and eventually he addresses them after his mother, well, I think his mother opened the window, I forget. Anyway, he addresses them and he says, you are all individuals, and everyone shouts, we are all individuals with one voice, except for one person who is quiet. And when everyone else is finished, he says, I'm not. This kind of reminds me of that. Eric, go practice your guitar playing. I might have a weak style, but at least I have a style. I've not heard anything by you ever, and I doubt I will. Then we have Gary Darnell, who is writing about the Marshall Code. Typical guitar snob. If it doesn't have a valve... Sorry, this has to be British because it says valve. Right, typical guitar snob. If it doesn't have a valve and doesn't cost over $2,000, it must be shite. I have one and I love it. I can make it sound great because I'm not deliberately trying to make it sound bad. You are, of course, insinuating that I'm deliberately trying to make the Marshall Code sound bad. That's quite an accusation. What can I say? Except, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I would love to love the Marshall Code. It's a Marshall. I love Marshalls. I tried my utmost to like that amp. I did 3 videos on it, but you probably didn't make it past number 1 because you didn't understand that there can be something after 1 because you can't count that far. So fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Have a pleasant day. Then we have Enrique Valverde. Maybe I should do this in Russian.
Jeez, man, you should be ashamed of that review. First, when you were using the 8-inch speaker, you put the mic on the middle of the amp. You didn't even bother to see where the speaker is located.
don't know which accent this is because it's coming something weird.
Second, you tried a 5-watt amp expecting it to behave like a 20 or 50-watt ones.
Sorry, like the 20 and 50 watt ones, yeah.
It's like expecting a Fender Champ 57 to behave like a bassman. I think it's quite amusing. Players can't get a decent sound out of an amp and then blame the amp. This guy made a much better job in getting decent tones out of it.
Now, on these Bring On The Hate videos, I don't normally show what I've responded, but in this case, kind of sums it up because he quoted a YouTube video of someone getting decent tones out of the amp. I forget which amp it was. 1. I always shine a light through the grill cloth to see exactly where I point the mic. So, that's what I did. So wrong there, Mr. Enrique. 2. Yeah, I've been going on about people not being able to count. 2. Not at all. I've tried a bunch of different 4 and 5 watt valve amps. They've all been better than this. I think this is the Marshall Origin, by the way. Might be. Number 3. You criticize me for microphone placement and then refer to a video which is recorded with some microphone on a camera. The camera mic. All in all, good job, Enrique. So if you plan to criticize, at least make sure that you have a point. And preferably make it constructive criticism, because this is just stupid. Okay, so had to change battery on the camera. We have Huan Clan, Huwan Clan, who's been really active in the comments. So let's just go through these.
You talk about watching the screen of PC to make no sense as you just have to spend that time once. Since you can save 5 settings on the THR, so you spend just one time preparing 5 sound perfectly set and save them, and you won't ever have to look at your screen. Sorry to repeat again, but you're the boss.
I don't know in which order these will be, so or in which order he's posted these. So let's just go through all of these.
Every demo you make, say a microcube is better. How much Roland pay you?
And he goes on to say in relation to something.
A honest idiot remain a idiot.
And even more.
Cool me, all I noticed that you keep so damn stupid as usual is more.
And more.
LOL, I see you don't like critics. I just read in the forum people laughing about you and your silly demos with the compressor front of the amp you test. So maybe it's time for you to go look for a real job, because musically you definitely show your incompetence. Have a nice day, you schmuck!
And he ends it with,
Report on your microcube!
wow, that really did something to my throat there. Yes, but Huan Clan really went to town on poor old caps lock on his computer. And he was really upset with me. First of all, let's just point out some things here. Why don't you try to look for a real job? I have a real job. Why don't you spend more time practicing the guitar instead of screaming at me? Second, I see you don't like critics. Well, what the fuck did you expect? You haven't offered any kind of constructive criticism at all. You've just been foaming at the mouth like a fucking lunatic. So yeah, I don't like critics like you. I just read in a forum people laughing about you and your silly demos with a compressor front of the amp you test. Judging by the way you write, I would say you need to spend a bit more time reading. And listen, I'm fine with people laughing at me in forums if they want to, if they think I have a compressor in front of the amp, because I've never had a compressor in front of my amp. I don't think I've ever had that. I'm talking about YouTube videos now. I have had that for clean sounds when playing live and stuff like that. What? Because musically you definitely show your incompetence. Again, I go back to that Yngwie Malmsteen thing. I would rather take praise from him. I would rather have Derek Sherinian play on my record. I would rather have Matthias E.A. Eklund play on my record, because they obviously like what I do to some extent, than have you, Mr. Huan Klan, praise me. You, who tear the caps lock a new one, really goes to town on it, criticizes me for stuff that I obviously haven't done, ill-informed, and dare I say, just plain old fucking stupid. And we piss on your Microcube nerd was the last one. Feel free to do so. Just let me know before you arrive. I can connect it to the mains. Then we have Jim Brashear. All these guys on YouTube trying to sample the Strat and saying they don't like the tone. Try something that's more traditionally used on Marshalls, like an LP. Then get back to me. My Tremonti PRS sounds fantastic on this amp. And let's continue with Joe Blow. Let's just assume he's from roughly Jim's neighborhood. The fag fender is the first clue. You have no business anywhere near a man's amp. Then you talk. Okay, so the fag fender, if I'm not mistaken, was not a fender. But let's just say Strat and Marshall. Try something that's more traditionally used on Marshalls, like an LP, Les Paul, the Fag Fender, man's amp, a Marshall. Now, first of all, a man's amp, a 250 euro modeling fucking toy is a man's amp? Are you fucking kidding me? And second of all, why don't you go say this stuff to let me see who's used Marshalls and who's used Strats? Richie Blackmore, Yngwie Malmsteen, and who's that one guy? Yes, I think you've heard of him. Jimi Hendrix! So fuck off. Then we have John Hetherington. Do your parents know you're out of the basement? Oh, John. Oh, John. If you want my comeback, it's a bit late for that. Your mum swallowed it all. Then we have Mark Branson. Every sound that you like sucks so bad. You must have a ear problem. Kind of like you have a spelling problem. I'm not being mean or joking. Something is wrong with your hearing, or maybe it's just your taste in sound. Yes, objectively, there is something wrong with something that's inherently subjective. Taste in sound. Yes, Mark, you didn't like my review of whatever the fuck it was I reviewed. And I couldn't care less. Really, I couldn't. You mean nothing to me. Have a nice life. Okay, so then we have Michael Sabian with the Marshall Code. Didn't see the first video or any of your videos before this, so I think your evaluation was very limited considering all that is built into it as far as emulations, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. But I find this first point very interesting. And then he goes on to say, so thanks for your honest review, but I think the amp is way better than a bad amp. I think the biggest block to a better great review of this category of amplifiers is going into it. It is already known. It is tubeless, hence the title Snob. If you already have a mindset to not like it already because it's tubeless. I hate it when people assume stuff. It's like this is the first tubeless amp that I've ever tried. Have you not seen that I've tried other tubeless amps and have actually liked those? Probably not, because you're more interested in sticking your finger up your ass and seeing if you can get it to come out of your mouth. Nicole Costa. The code is freaking amazing. No, it's not. Then we have Norbert Itterman, who's also been part of a previous Bring On The Hate. The demo is okay until 4:01. Then comes the Malmsteen frustration in again. Sorry. Then the Malmsteen frustration comes in again. Norbert, I know how much you hate that Malmsteen thing. I only put that in there for you. You're welcome. Chris Davies, who's also been a part of this previously. For fuck's sake, get the 100 combo and use the effects that come with it. Honestly, mine sounds like a plexi. Dude, you have to get in there and tweak the settings. The stock presets are digital. They need to be adjusted. Not an amp for a technophobe looking for an excuse to give it a slating. Okay, let's keep... I think I have something else by him here. Let's see where that was. Yes, here it is. Wow, I'd have to try very hard to make my code sound that bad. Getting Scottish, Irish mixed up here. I'm beginning to wonder because you dislike the amp so much that you may deliberately be dialing in a shite sound. We all know Valve is better. For example, I have a Blackstar HD Stage 100 set up as well as a Marshall Code 100 combo, which I love to bits. I still maintain it's a good amp if you're prepared to roll up your sleeves and change the settings. Oh yeah, almost forgot, my code amp has an effects loop and yes, a speaker out option. Sorry for that kind of wandering between Ireland, Scotland, Liverpool, Manchester type thing with the accent. Just like doing those. Well, he said for fuck's sake, get the 100 combo. No! Well, I might, just to piss everyone off. I actually just might. But I was reviewing the 50. I said this in the previous Bring On The Hate video. When I'm reviewing something, why should I be reviewing something else? I bought this thing to review. This is what I thought it did. I thought it sucked and blew at the same time, which makes it fucking magical. The stock presets are digital. They need to be adjusted. Fine, but why would you make a product where you have a bunch of presets where someone goes into the store and sees, okay, there's that new amp. Let's say it's the Marshall Code. I'm going to try the new Marshall Code because I've heard that that's the thing to have. And you turn it on, you have that preset list there, you go through the presets. That's the first thing you will encounter are the presets. Why the fuck would they make an amp with shitty presets? Are they so fucking stupid? No, they're not. I'm wagering they are not that fucking stupid. They've made presets that reflect the amp, and I say across the board, that's the case. If it isn't, the case is that they're fucking idiots. If you have to fucking tweak the thing, they're fucking morons, and they deserve to have me call their amp shite. Of course, in some instances, a bit of tweaking can make it a tiny bit better. But you get the ballpark with the presets. Really. Kurt Greco. The bad tone is because that piece of shit Strat. Kurt, that Strat costs more than a night out with your mother. Actually, the strings on that Strat cost more than a night out with your mother. Then we have Dawn R. You could have shown the actual pedal and settings without wasting our time riffing like a little girl. Oh, you knobhead. So you wanted to see the knobs on the pedal because you couldn't quite understand when I said everything halfway or overdrive or gain at 9 o'clock because you have trouble telling the time from a clock. You don't quite know what 9 is. So where is what pointing? I'm sorry I made your head explode. Satana. Satana. This isn't a fair review, since it's capable of using IRs. And you were just too biased, lazy, obtuse, or all the above to try one out. Then it's really pathetic you got some childish manual phobia or whatever and can't even be bothered to look up how to use the presets and global EQs to lighten up that plexi preset you were whining about. That was Satan. So, Mr. Satan. The item was a B stock return. So someone had it and returned it, and then I bought it. And I'm sorry, I won't call you lazy or any of those things, because there's no way you could have known that there was actually an IR loaded into the pod. And I tried that as well. And it just made a different type of plastic. See, that's the difference between you and me. My ears actually work, unlike what Wedding with Little White Doves or whatever his fucking name was thinks. And secondly, manual phobia. No, I don't have manual phobia. I've managed to work an AXFX2 without looking at a manual. I managed to work this, and you're talking about presets EQ here and global EQ. I could have looked at global EQ and gone through more stuff if I had more time to actually do these reviews. If I was doing this full time, I might have done so. If I remember correctly, it was a bit on the dark side, but that was not the main issue with the pod. The main issue was that it was so fucking plasticky sounding. And I don't know which EQ you've been looking at, but I don't remember any EQ ever having minus 10 dB plastic. And FYI, I did look at the preset EQ. Then we have Dandolf. Dude, my code sounds just fine and there's plenty of YouTube videos showing it sounds good too. Your code is obviously defective or your settings are screwed up. You just not getting it right and acting the way you are is absolutely cringeworthy. You're embarrassing yourself. LOL. In relation to this, let's go to Sean Goodine. What a douche, LOL. What Mr. Dandolf is talking about here. You are not getting it right and acting the way you are is absolutely cringeworthy. You're embarrassing yourself, LOL. I'm fine with that. If you think I'm embarrassing yourself, go ahead and think that. Nothing has actually happened to me. I happen to think that you're wrong in regards to the code. And the thing is, I don't have stage fright. I'm not afraid to embarrass myself in front of people and go out on a limb and put myself out there. That's why I have a YouTube channel. What Sean Goodine is doing is contributing to people being afraid of actually expressing themselves, because there are douchebags like Sean Goodine out there who have nothing to contribute except say, fuck you, you suck, without ever having the balls to do any of that stuff themselves. So Sean Goodine, fuck you, and fuck you. Dandolf, at least, yeah, you're not calling me anything. You're just saying I'm cringeworthy. I'm fine with that. Okay, then we have two comments relating to Johan Segerborn's code 25, making it sound exactly like a plexi, where I did the same thing as he did, copied his settings on the code 50, and so then I actually compared it to a plexi, which he didn't do. And we have 11 Sol, who I think has been part of this already at some point, an earlier video.
Johan can make my barbecue sound better than your plexi.
Wow, he's a magician. Or you have a really great barbecue. And then we have Blues Rocker who says, complains about the amp, uses a Strat on sloppy played AC/DC songs. What's so wrong about a Strat? If you paid more attention to Johan, it shows that he plays with so much feel and the right guitar for the right tone. Not to bash you, man, but I have got this amp and his settings are so damn spot on, it's almost to steal. I want to take this back to what Johan said about the Marshall Code. He said that he had to use a cab simulation, which is what lots of people were telling me that I shouldn't use. He said he had to dial back on the tone because the amp was so shrill and harsh. Now, I don't know about any plexi you've tried. You can turn up the treble on these and they will sound shrill, but nothing like the Code. If you have to turn down the tone on your guitar to make your sound the same, well, just make your sound anything like it should, there's something wrong with the amp. Unless you're doing something specialized like Jeff Beck, really dialing in a really high-end, top-heavy sound and then turning down the tone to get a really weird tone, that's a different thing. But if you have to... What the fuck's wrong with these people? And no disrespect to Johan. Johan has a great YouTube channel. I'm not knocking Johan. I'm knocking Blues Rocker here. Because he said, if you paid more attention to Johan, it shows that he plays with so much feel and the right guitar for the right tone. Well, right guitar for the right tone. Different guitars will sound different through a plexi. What? Right guitar? What are you talking about? Hendrix! But the bit that really bugs me here is that he plays with so much feel. He's just playing some riffs and leads and whatever he is doing, there's no backing, there's no musical setting. And I would wager that he would say that's not playing with feel. I was kind of enjoying the moment, tops. But is this a musical moment where I'm playing with tons of feel? I would say Johan would say that no, I've done way better in actual musical settings where I've had actual bandmates to feed off, maybe an audience to feed off, to interact with, music to interact with, not just an amp. And I had this, some idiots, I haven't been able to find those comments, which that bums me a bit, especially there was one, but a few who were saying something along the lines of my playing is soulless. This was especially in a pedal demo I did. What are you expecting? It's a pedal demo. If you're coming along expecting fucking Mozart or Beethoven in a pedal demo, then you've got your head screwed on the wrong way. What the fuck is wrong with you people? So, rant's over. Yeah, that was Bring On The Hate number 3. I'll be making more of these because I have more of these in store. This is great fun. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a playlist with random silly stuff, bloopers and stuff like that. More of these hate videos if you want to check those out. Playlist here somewhere. Like if you liked the video, comment, let me know what you thought. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing. And hey, join me on Patreon. You get my music, which is shit, according to these people who have never listened to it. A bunch of exclusives. You get access to my Guitar Academy. You can even take that for free. So, yeah. If you're Sean Goodine, welcome aboard. Come and check it out. Or Huan Clan. Come on, join me on Patreon. You can take that stuff for free.